Hi, my name is Becky Stirnkorb and I'm going to teach you how to make the best tasting guacamole. Before I get started, I do have one audience member, my husband, Chris Stirnkorb, and I did have a few others on Skype, but they're having technical difficulties, so they actually saw me do half of this and then something got cut off. So I'm here to present only to one solo person, but I am here to teach you how to make the best tasting guacamole. I have been an avid fan of guacamole and Mexican food for years, and one of my favorite things is the guacamole, very authentic Mexican guacamole at restaurants. I don't get out too much anymore, so I decided that I wanted to learn how to make really good authentic guacamole in my own home and just have it as my own treat, maybe to bring to parties or family events, things like that. So I searched on Pinterest for a few just different, more authentic, using fresh stuff, and kind of did trial and error of things that I liked and things that I didn't like, and came up with my own personal favorite, guacamole, which I'll be showing you how to make here today. So I will first start off with the ingredients. So anytime you're cooking or preparing a meal or some kind of food, you want to make sure you have all of the appropriate ingredients. And I do like kind of having an open space that I can create the meal or appetizer on. So as far as my ingredients go, I have one avocado, and depending on how many people you're serving, you can double all of these ingredients. It's just me and my husband, so I'm just going to do a smaller ingredient portion. So I have one avocado. When you're picking out your avocado, you want to make sure you have a ripe avocado. So ripe is when you squeeze it, it's a little soft but still very firm. So the riper the avocado, the fresher the guacamole is, and kind of the tastier it is. It's almost like a banana. You kind of want it to be a little ripe for it to have the most flavor. So I have my avocado here. And then I have a red onion. We are not going to be using all of this red onion, just a portion of it. And then I have a lime. And then I have salsa, which is a good substitute for tomatoes. Very authentic Mexican restaurants use tomatoes instead of salsa. But I think this is just an easier step if you're trying to make it within a 6 to 8 minute period. And then we also have just regular salt and red pepper, which can also be substituted for cayenne pepper. And then garlic powder. Another thing, instead of using garlic powder, you can actually mince an actual garlic clove, but this is just an easier step to make guacamole. So first I will start off, and before I get started with actually making the food, just to talk about the utensils I'll be using. I'll be using, I have cutting boards to kind of cut the veggies on. I have a knife for the actual cutting. I have a spoon just for kind of measuring the salt and pepper. And then a fork to actually mix everything with. So I will first start off with cutting the avocado, which I'll be putting all of these ingredients into this mixing bowl to my right. Alrighty. So when you cut the avocado, you cut it vertically right down the center, just in one, and you'll see it has a core to the avocado, which I will actually save and use for later to kind of keep the freshness of the guacamole. Lasts longer than usually a day or two. So I'm going to peel back the skin of the avocado. And the riper the avocado is, the easier the skin will be to peel off. So this is pretty ripe. So I'm going to go ahead and cut around that core. One thing with dealing with avocados, it's especially if they're very ripe, it's a little messy. So just beware of that. I'm going to keep that core for later. Put everything in a mixing bowl. So guacamole originated from the Aztecs in Mexico years ago. And they actually used a mortar and a pestle, I think it was called, to mash up, which you still see in authentic Mexican restaurants today. I don't have those utensils, so I use a mixing bowl and fork. I think works just fine. Skin there. So again, I'll just kind of chop this up. And chopping it up just makes it easier for me to mash it when it's in the bowl. Alrighty. And again, I'm going to keep that core for later. So then I will go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of salt. That's the next step. Put that in there. And then a little bit of this red pepper, which, like I said, can also be substitute for cayenne pepper. And then I'll go ahead and mash that up. And if you don't want to use a fork, you can actually use your hands, especially if the avocado is very ripe. Kind of smush that up. Obviously wash your hands before you do this. But this is just going to make a small amount too. So if you want more to serve like 6 to 8 people, you probably want to use like 2 or 3 avocados and so on. Alrighty. So once I kind of mashed up those avocados in the mixing bowl, I'm just going to take a little bit of a red onion. I'm going to cut that up. And some people are a little sensitive to onion, so you kind of might tear up a little bit when you're cutting, especially red onion. Just depends on how sensitive you are. And you can chop this as finely as you want. I kind of like them a little chunkier. So put that into the guacamole. And then I'm going to cut the lime in half. We're going to squeeze that lime juice into our mixing bowl like that. And that'll add a lot of flavor to that. And then next we will add the salsa, which salsa is also a judgment call, just depending on if you were adding tomatoes, how much tomatoes you would want to add, just if you like tomatoes or not. So probably add a couple teaspoons, and then the garlic powder. And then you just want to mix it and kind of mash everything together. It looks good, it smells good. We added all of our ingredients. So usually I will put the core of the avocado back into the mixing bowl. This keeps the freshness of the guacamole last for a few days. If you don't have the core and you let it sit out, or even let it sit in the refrigerator, it will only last probably overnight. It just won't be as tasty. So this keeps the freshness of it. So then I usually let it cool for probably like 20 to 30 minutes, and then you are able to serve. I love it. My favorite is best with tortilla chips. You can chill it, or you can just eat it like so. So I'll take a bite and see if it's good. Tastes delicious. Serve with chips and enjoy.